closely resembles what we saw with the Gulf oil disaster.
Yes.
Well, I approached Coast to Coast, the number one radio station that basically your competitor in the United States, but the biggest radio station that does this type of newsworthy, paranormal type, out-of-the-box thinking show.
Right.
And I called up their producer, a woman by the name of Lisa Line,
Yeah.
very wonderful woman. And I told her, and I gave her the prophecy. She said, wow, this is great. This is fantastic stuff. Wow, this is amazing. We got to get you on this show. You know, she goes, I got to talk to George and get his okay. He's got final say on everything.
Mm-hmm.
One day goes by, no phone call, no return. 2 days go by, I send an email, no response. 3 days go by, I make a phone call, can't get through. Never could get through with them again. I had other people try for me, never got any response. I had my Facebook friends write a request, send requests, and many of them did to get me as a guest on their show. No response. I wonder why. Maybe it has to do with the fact that I get a little bit too close to the truth, or so an ex-government agent who read Letters to Earth, You Can Survive Armageddon, said, wow, great book, but you better watch your back. You got too close to the truth.
Or he didn't find the topic that interesting for his format.
Well, yeah, maybe that could be too. But considering that you've got the worst oil disaster and it's a biblical prophecy.
Coincidence?
Well, what I think is even more of a coincidence is about 2 weeks to 3 weeks after that, he had some other biblical expert on that's talking about everything about his interpretation of the biblical prophecies, only that they do it through religion, and you'll never solve you'll never get the answer trying to do it with religion. It's like Einstein said, and this is why I got the moniker. Einstein said that science without religion, I'm sorry, let me get this right. Get all excited and get tongue-tied here. Einstein said that science without religion is lame, but religion without science is blind. Maybe that's why the Vatican named their infrared telescope the largest on the face of the earth, Lucifer. I don't know. But, you know...
Or do people read too much into things?
Sometimes that's the case. I agree. Sometimes that's the case. But I want to just jump back to the Boston bombing thing, because I do want to touch on the 2045 agenda.
Sure.
Let's take a look at the result of this. Okay. Let's say it wasn't a drill. Let's say that this was really actually something that was perpetrated. Let's say all these people were really injured.
Well, how can we dispute that? How can we actually dispute?
You know, you have to look at the photographic evidence, number one, that's available, which isn't publicized all that much, but you can get online because it's
what do you mean it's not publicized? I have access. I have full access to UPI. I have full access to Getty photos, and those photos, my friend, are undisputable. People were injured.
It certainly does appear that way.
Oh, come on. How could this be staged?
Hold on. Something to look up on is go to Homeland Security, go to their website, and you can find out how to be a crisis actor. There's actually a whole section there. There is actually a agency that provides crisis actors to Homeland Security for their drills.
Yeah, of course. And you can also go on the internet and find out how to make a bomb out of a pressure cooker.
Absolutely. It's very simple.
So, but the big question here is, why in the name of God would the American government pull this off on its own citizens? Something doesn't make sense here, Peter.
You know what doesn't make sense, Rob? It doesn't make sense how almost every single government agency was on the scene almost immediately. And what doesn't make sense is that they get a message from Russia saying, hey, you ought to check out these two Chechenian kids. One's 26. Now, I can see the 26-year-old, but the 18-year-old? Now I'm kind of scratching my head.
Why?
And it raises a flag for me. It raises a red flag.
Why?
An 18-year-old maybe helping his brother. Let me continue.
Okay.
Russia says go check these guys out. So now we've got suspects. Now, interestingly enough, the FBI investigated these two kids about 2 years ago, and they said, hey, they came up clean. Okay. let's continue. Now there's a manhunt out for these two kids.
Yeah.
They find one and they wind up getting in a gunshot and they kill him. Now they show the body.
Yeah.
How the body gets this 8-inch gash up the side of the rib cage, I have absolutely no idea, unless it was a post-autopsy body. And where that big red
wasn't he
from,
hit by a car?
It could very no, he was supposedly shot. It died in a gun battle.
But didn't he? Wasn't there part of it where the brother hit him with a car escaping?
Boy, that's a good question. You may be right. I honestly don't recall. Let me continue. But
okay.
What comes out of this? The whole city of Boston goes on a goes under voluntary martial law.
Okay.
And you have the local police department, the state police department, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. You have Department of Defense. You have FEMA. You have Homeland Security, the FBI. And you have the National Guard, all working together. This is the first time this has ever happened. They are all working together. Every police agency and several government agencies. Excuse
me. Didn't the same thing happen in Dallas after President Kennedy was shot?
Well, to an extent, yeah, but wait a minute. We're not talking about the assassination of a president. We're talking about the manhunt.
We're talking about an
18-year-old boy.
We're talking about a manhunt after terrorist subjects who had just blown up and killed people in a way that nobody had ever seen downtown Boston during a public event.
A great production, wasn't it?
It wasn't a production, Peter. Come on. What planet are you from?
Let's go on. Let's go on, though. Then we get to see house-to-house searches without warrant. Without warrant. House-to-house searches. A whole section of Boston was sectioned off, and the police agencies involved started doing house-to-house searches.
They were in fresh pursuit. Warrants aren't necessary.
Well, you see, now here is a whole set of precedent that has never before happened, where you have a city on voluntary martial law lockdown, the public search of private citizens' homes without warrant.
Have you heard of any citizen filing a complaint?
Nope. It was all voluntary.
All right, so what's the big deal?
I'm just
saying. We got the little devil who blew up and killed people. I'm happy.
I'm not convinced. I'm not saying he didn't do it.
Listen, the way the media was following the manhunt. Come on, it's Peter. It's just like people who. It's just like the people who say that 9/11 was a government job. What planet do these people come from?
9/11 wasn't a government job. It's just coincidence that the whole northern corridor of every radar station under the the federal. Who is it that takes care of that?
NORAD.
Stations? No, it's not NORAD. It's the FFA. They were all voluntarily handed over to the Air Force for a drill the same morning of 9/11. Interesting coincidence.
Maybe the terrorists knew that, and that's why it was planned for 9/11. Maybe there was a leak.
We can
wouldn't be the first time.
Conspiracy theories for the next week, Rob, and we can take opposite ends, and we could argue it all week long, and you know what? We would accomplish absolutely nothing.
So, but my
I'll
question
tell you something
is,
that's not a conspiracy theory, and that's the 2045 initiative.
Yeah. Well, you see, I just want to close off by saying, I once asked a friend of mine who's another radio talk show host. His name is Clyde Lewis. He's with Premier. I said, Clyde, why is everything with Americans a conspiracy? He said, simple, Rob, because America was founded on a conspiracy.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't understand.
Those conspiracies, it was founded by conspirators that were part of a larger group known as the Illuminati, which comes out of Germany. interestingly enough, the current head of England, the head of all of Great Britain and its empire, also comes out of Germany. They're no longer Anglos. There's no member of the Tudor family that sits on that throne. They were all brought in from Germany.
Queen Elizabeth was brought in from Germany?
No. I'm talking about Queen Elizabeth II. When you go back and you look at the Windsor line,
right,
it's Saxe-Coburg out of Germany.
Well, yeah.
Which takes place in the 1800s.
Yeah.
You also find strong indication of certain affairs going on with the Rothschilds impregnating part of that family, or so the story goes.
Listen,
but it's all part of a conspiracy. We can go back to 1814 with the first Congress of Vienna and the first attempt of a world government.
So let me ask you this: if everybody knows these conspiracies are going on, and I don't believe they are, why then don't the people say, hey, listen, we've had enough. We know it's a conspiracy. You're out of power. We're going to put our own people in. Isn't it for the people, by the people?
Well, that's the strange thing about the president that we have. He's done so many things which I want to go back to Bill Clinton for a minute. Bill Clinton almost was impeached because he put his cigar in the wrong box. This president has done so many things, including his presidential proclamations, which violate the rights of every citizen of the United States. He's actually been found guilty now of war crimes because of prolonging Guantanamo.
Yes.
And the bombings that have the drone bombings that have happened on American citizens in other countries.
So why is he still there?
They weren't given due process.
Why is he still there? Why hasn't he been impeached then?
You tell me.
I don't know. I'm not an American.
A sheriff in Arizona says that his birth certificate is a forgery, and we've got an illegitimate president. You tell me why he's still in power.
I don't know. But you see, everybody complains, but nobody does a damn thing about it.
Hey, Rob, I generally stay out of politics. I was instructed to stay out of politics since I was a child. Otherwise, I couldn't fulfill my mission. But, it's interesting to be an observer in this because I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't have a dog in this fight on this planet. At least not yet.
Well, I've got three dogs I've got 3 dogs at home. And speaking about dogs at home, I've got to take a commercial break here, Peter. Stand by, buddy. Always great talking to you. Peter Kling's my guest. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about 2045. My name is Rob McConnell. This is The X Zone. For more information on Peter, visit his website, www.peterkling.com. He's the author of Letters to Earth, You Can Survive Armageddon. My name's Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Do not go away. And hey, listen, if you're not happy with your government, you, the people, have the power to make the necessary changes. Instead of talking, do it. We'll be back. Don't go away. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.